Hey everybody, this is me and Chris, and as you know, once a week we get together and he bestows his 9 dawn magic upon us. And so he's going to take a look at a game that George and I played, a kadoban game. George and I tried to review it, but there was so many questions that were over our head, we just didn't know how to think about it. Thus, enter Chris. So let me give him control. Take away, Chris.
Alrighty, let's take a look here. So 3 stones, kadoban. It's good to see George getting away from 4, you know.
Yeah.
All right, so far so normal. All right, the immediate approach. So he's going for more of an aggressive stance in the 3-stone game. And you'll stop me whenever one of your questions come up?
I will.
Okay, so far all Joseki as far as I'm aware. Although this move is a bit of a rarity these days, typically it's more common to connect, and then when black pushes for white to extend. One of the main reasons being usually black will block, but then because of the presence of the white pinch at A, when white jumps, black usually has to come back and spend 1 more step.
Oh.
And then that allows white to bump the nose, and then black is dead. The 2 outside stones are captured. So
okay. I was thinking C17. Oh, I'm so small in the corner. I hate getting surrounded. But it's a tempo change. I'm strengthening so I can do more.
Right.
Okay.
And then probably black is still going to be tied some move to the left-hand side. If black plays away, then white's block is actually very big.
Yeah. I'm still not alive, yeah.
Yeah, so and it's sort of like not quite a sente, but almost a sente for white to choose this way. So it should be quite a good Joseki choice for white. Although this one back in the day I think used to see play too. Modern times it gets usually not so good scores from the AI. Because black will typically cut and then extend once for the fighting. And so this is creating the Miai situation of black can extend at A or play something like BC. So very simple, right? If white captures, we can extend this sacrifice this way, and then we get this turn, and then after white captures, we get this one. And now it's a very different situation. White would probably have to not jump, but instead push and cut, which is also acceptable for black here. Black is getting quite good power on the outside this way. So something for George, I guess. He can consider this cut and extend for fighting. Force white to have decisions is usually a good idea. This one is going to simplify things actually for white to quite a bit. There's many different ways white can play. One method would be to play like Atari, then extend in the corner. And the gist of the variation is that we're kind of baiting black into making the cut at A. And then we're going to fight on the outside using the 2 stones. So in the game variation, white played, extend first, black got to turn. Okay, this is a different fight, but still playable. I think so far it's looking okay for white. This move by George, though, is a bit strange. George took a fairly aggressive stance early on in this game with C12, and now he's sort of backing off of the fight. If I'm black, I would consider extending. We need to keep pressure on white's liberties. This move seems pretty urgent.
Play the white honey on that.
Okay.
And then connect?
Okay, I can connect. Sure. At that point, black would... Is descend better than turn? I mean, there's pretty much 3 different choices. I can do 1, 2, or 3. Maybe even this one. Whoops. Maybe even this is Tesuji here.
Okay.
Yeah. It just seems like it's not really going to be worth it for black to give those up. Like we imagine this, and then white just captures pretty clean for white.
Okay.
And this one is just 1 stone. This can be easily thrown aside for now.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, I thought it was too difficult for black to try to escape there.
Yeah, I think even though it's got some degree of difficulty, I think it's necessary given black's initial stance. It doesn't make sense to start a fight and to surrender halfway through it.
Okay.
It's just kind of inconsistent play. But okay, if we go ignoring the fight for a bit, white makes a life in the corner, and yeah, black gets a thickness, but it's okay. So at all points, I think white can be somewhat happy with this.
Okay. Is it okay for white to play away here?
Yeah. The corner can't die. So like at best, black is going to get one Hane Connect. White's going to have to play.
Yeah, I mean, white
but...
K3 is the question.
Oh yeah, it's the same sort of thing as this stone here, this stone here. They're both light stones in enemy area. The stones themselves don't actually have to live as long as white gets something there. They're never going to turn into a territory for you.
Right.
So they just exist to disrupt the black, and so I think playing away in the big place is perfectly fine here. Of course, I think this is still the most urgent point on the board. We have a fight that's been not resolved yet, but if we're ignoring the fact that F16 exists, then I think this is perfectly fine way to play. And then George played pincer. This is again taking the aggressive stance, and then white invades. So I like that you're playing very, very quick this time. In this kadoban game, you're playing like fast all over the board, and then just kind of handling the smaller groups. I think this plays very well to the strength of the stronger player. Although I think in most cases, at the very least, AI and higher level players almost always play this one.
Now, in the old days, this was the Joseki. And this was one that took me a long time to learn because black has 3 segments, white has 3 segments, and then the strangest thing of all is A is the actual stone. It took me forever. To me, this is super complex. And I'm talking, it took me years to get a hand, and finally, okay. As soon as I did, the pros say, oh, the corner's too big for black, so we don't play this anymore.
Yeah, and AI says it's almost exclusively better than extending to R5.
Right.
Most of the time.
We switched to this, which is so incredibly simple. Kind of, I didn't like that. I finally learned the hard way. And then, since AI, oh no, we're back to playing the other one.
Yeah. I think it's because in this variation, everything is more forcing and it leaves more Aji behind. So
true. However, in this case, this picture looked perfect to me. Now, I knew the other one. I go, but wait a minute. This looks so good. I just want to do it. But back to you. Tell me how I should be thinking.
Yeah, if we just go through this pattern and then we do this sort of standard save type of thing where white gets the full thing, you get to go right up to the stone. And like, yeah, there's cutting points, but none of these actually matter, which was the hardest part for me learning this Joseki, is that white can actually apparently just give away all of this and be fine.
Yeah, isn't that weird?
Because at this point, black has invested so many extra stones in the corner that even if black played this Atari, and like, let's just say the off chance black captured everything, the amount of additional territory black gets for the number of stones,
meaningless.
It just doesn't matter, right? Because it's like, from that point, these 3 black stones, or probably even these 4 black stones, are wasted.
Yeah.
So yeah, we lose an additional 3 stones, but black has 4 stones inside the territory wasted, and then these 3 black stones traded with these 3 white stones. So in that case, white's actually up a move.
Yeah.
It's funny how that maths, right? It looks like it's so big for black, but when you break it down to efficiency, actually white is just better. But yeah, this one just gets closer to the target stone. So, and it does it forcefully, which I think is the difference why the AI likes these type of variations
AI likes
more.
being, the sente, the forcing.
Yeah. Yeah, because now you play this one, and this is a good picture, but it's just a little bit softer.
Yeah.
Like it's a much more gentle touch to the one stone. So like black could even consider now, for example, like kickstand, and then even tanuki is okay for black. Like we can imagine maybe black at the step goes here, or black might play something like this one, aiming at R7 to break white up or to draw the stone out. And simultaneously, he's preparing to attack K3. So something on the diagonal could be very difficult for white to handle.
Yeah.
And then also, of course, we're just going to throw that back there. There's still that fight. So I think it's just in terms of the degree of attack. So white gets an attack on the one stone either way. It's just if we choose the simple variation, we get a much softer attack. If we choose the forceful variation, we get a much closer, stronger attack. But either way, it's going to require George to handle the stones. And this is where we can bet that every Q and low dawn player is going to make a mistake. Black probably shouldn't draw the stone out, which sounds weird, right? Because white doesn't have a base, and drawing the stone out saves the black stone, does all these wonderful positive things for black. Except really it doesn't, because the A stone is low. Now, when the stone is high, I feel like we always draw it out, because white's options to lean against the corner become much more limited when all the stones are on the fourth line. But in a situation where we force white to jump one space, we force white to jump maybe two spaces, there's always going to be this 1-2 combination left behind in the corner that white can use to parry black's attack and then reverse it. So then black ends up being the one under attack in the end.
This 1-2 combination I've seen so many times, and it's been played against me. And every time I do it, I'm like, what in the heck am I supposed to do? It worries me every single time. So
yeah, we cut and usually end up sacrificing the corner. So black can save the corner if black wants. But the main premise of the shape is that if black doesn't play to kill the corner, white's going to be able to live with the hane and the attachment. And white can treat the outside stones, meaning these three, as a light sacrifice, because we already have a natural reduction at A. And if black goes to kill the two white stones in the fight somehow, we could just imagine any move that black might try to end white's existence. White's going to get to squeeze from the outside S14 area in Sente, and then get a stronger fight towards the outside.
okay.
So that's mainly the plan, is that when white is cutting at Q17, white's going to take whichever one black gives white. If black gives white the life in the corner, white's going to take it. If black gives white the squeeze from the outside, white's going to take it.
Okay.
We don't go in this mission expecting to get both. We only expect to get one. And if black tries to take both, black will collapse.
Yeah.
And that's the main premise of this this pattern. So it's very risky for black to draw the stone out against a stronger player anyway that's aware of these patterns when black has the low stone at A. The difference with the high stone is that when we have the stone in the high position here, let's go back to this point. We'll just edit and put it like this. When we have the stone in the high position here, the two-space jump is much harder for white, first of all.
Mm-hmm.
Black is a lot closer to be able to cut it in the future with something like this. But also, if white wanted to lean against the corner, the only real leaning move white has against the corner is the direct attachment. But the direct attachment's not really going to do much. Like it only works if black pushes and cuts and then gives white the backdoor into the corner like this.
Okay.
But usually black isn't going to do that unless black knows that that's going to be working. That would require additional further reading of about 15 moves. Otherwise, black is probably just going to extend. And it's a much more severe attack against white. White doesn't get anywhere near the same amount of leverage in the corner as when white has A and B available.
Okay, let me catch up a little bit here. So your go tends to be very specific. Here's the readout. Here's how it affects the position. My go tends to be very generic.
Mm-hmm.
So black comes out at A. White has two weak groups.
Uh-huh.
This is good for black.
Uh-huh.
And you look at that and go, well, generically speaking, that's true. And yeah, there's positive in that for sure. But with the low D stone,
Mhm.
it's just not that difficult for white.
Mhm.
Okay. So it's this thing about proverbs
Right.
and principles. You know,
Mhm.
my go, flower go, is like, well, it's real pretty, but there's not much to it.
Yeah, it needs the substance, right?
Yeah. Proverbs don't have any substance, just like my game. Not much to it, but I can
Yeah.
play pretty good at a high level. But beyond that, you just start need to do a lot of specifics and a lot of reading. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, the general knowledge, I guess, is that if black really wants to take the attacking stance, black has to realize that it's going to be limited if not all of black stones are in the attacking stance. So 017 is not a stone that's in an attacking stance, it's in a defensive stance. Right? We're defending our corner with this knight's move. We're not, it's very low on the board. Positionally, it's quite weak.
Yeah.
It's vulnerable to presses. Whereas something like this one is in the attacking stance. It's on the 4th line. It's generating power. This one's on the 5th line. It's generating power. Star point's on the 4th line, generating power. Right? The AB exchange is making white heavy, taking away white's base. The C stone is taking away white's base. And so everything here is cohesive, and the idea white is attacked. Right? And we're making it the most difficult we can make it while we're attacking white. But when we do it like this, it's like, oh yeah, we're attacking.
Right.
And then at the very end, it's like, oops, I'm under attack. Just kidding. Oops.
My response versus the 2-space jump.
I think any of these moves are fine. As long as white is getting out. Because the point is, with this combination, any move that white is playing, the main reason why we do it is because we don't want black to be able to resist with the authority. In this case, black can't because there's no ladder. If that white stone doesn't exist, black can ladder the group into oblivion, and there would never be a combination for white in the corner, period.
Mm-hmm.
So any move jumping to the center that interacts with that ladder in a positive way for white, or prevents black from being able to resist strongly on the outside, is going to be good for white.
Okay.
Yeah. And it's not really worth it for black to try to split like this, because again, white has this backdoor Atari, and it transposes to that shape I showed you a second ago.
Right.
Where we started in this position and white attached at 1, 3, and then instead of black cutting at 4, black played 5 instead, which would have been a mistake in Tuari, and then white gets the cut here.
Right.
So black can't really cut it, and if black plays this one, which would be sort of like the common shape, then white is able to get out in a myriad of ways. White can push at 1, jump at 2, knights move at 3, peep at 4. All these are playable options for white. So
Okay.
this one also.
Yeah.
And one exchange.
I thought I was getting cut there. I wanted to thicken up.
Yeah, this is fine. I think this is these exchanges are okay because it's very unlikely that white is going to be playing from the side after black has reinforced with the markstone.
Yeah.
So I think Hane exchange is totally okay. And then it looks like white should be coming back to here at some point. So
one thing about that, let's just look over here. So his move did not stop the cut.
Right.
Then how is that move meaningful in the corner?
Okay. So that's a good question. So when something like this happens and white comes down like this, black will just block from above.
Giving white, just handing white life.
Yeah, but the difference is now when white pushes and black blocks at A, because of B, black walks away with Sunday. If you play this one, I go here, you're going to have to answer. So Q17 isn't taking Sente back.
So
but that's
I may well want to live in the corner later.
If you find a game example where white plays in the corner with the weak group on the outside, I will give you $50.
Ah, ah, ah. Okay. So we can say white has a weak group on the outside.
Yeah.
Therefore, white's not going to live in the corner.
Yeah. So, because right now, like there could be, if we imagine some world where black never gets a forcing move here to fix it, there could be a world where white fixes the outside in Sente and then has the 3/3 as the back door. At that point, if the cut was working, black would change the variation and just give white the life anyway. But it's so unlikely that that would happen. I have never seen it happen in a pro game in my life. And I've studied many of them. It's just very difficult because in the fighting, black is usually going to get some type of forcing move, either some Tessage here, a block here, this move directly type of thing. Black is going to find a way to clean up the corner as black uses white's knight's move against him somehow, and turn that off more often than not.
Okay. Good.
Yeah. There's also like the off chance to later that somehow in that sequence, black might choose to play instead of extend, black might go for Hane or Hane. We always have to calculate whether these are going to be a Sente on the outside.
Okay. Now the Hane just gives us easy life, right?
In this case, yes. But so let's take a look here. Yeah, but I think these exchanges for white are fine to make.
Okay.
But here I noticed you didn't play the Hane. Are you afraid of the cut? I wouldn't be.
Well, once I made the Atari exchange so that I'm thick, I should Hane. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think he's playing this one.
Yeah.
I don't think that's realistic.
Black's weaker than white is, yeah.
Yeah, so it's probably going to be this, and then if white wants to play connect, it makes a little more sense in the Tawari now, I think, to do it this way.
Good. I totally missed that.
Yeah, although I think black is being a bit soft here with their shape too. Black should recognize at this point that white has 2 weak groups. And if I'm black, I want to leverage that. So the move I'd be looking at actually is here. And this is not a statement that black thinks black is going to kill white or anything of the sort. Actually, more often than not, R7 becomes a sacrifice in the shape. Like just to kind of show an example, like even if we just give white the life like this result is already successful for black.
Right.
So, and that would be not even necessarily the best way to go. This is just an example variation. And if white plays the attachment from below, then obviously white is going to have a much harder time of it. Having to wrap around on top like this and potentially fight on the outside with black. We can really see how not having the Hane stone applying pressure here can really change things. It's almost like a loss of tempo. So I think this for George is a good timing to realize this, and this is the hallmark of a stronger player, that white's group is still somewhat sandwiched against black's thick corner, and we should be trying to use that thickness actively. And this is a much better way for George to defend, because like this, there's really nothing stopping white from just defending also. Whoops, something like this, and it looks a bit small, but now white is completely alive. And if black cannot bother white, then black is the one that's getting bothered. Now it's just a one-on-one fight, and that's much easier for white to handle. And this is actually the move you played. Wow. I'm good at guessing. And this is Gote. I don't know why George did that one. Basically, here's how we think about it. Group A is probably going to be alive. Group B probably going to be alive. We should be moving the stones in a more active direction. So if George wants to play from this group again, it should be this way. Prevent the white Hane from being super productive. We can bridge the group through these 3 stones, and we can sacrifice the square stone now.
Okay.
I point that out because a lot of Q players get afraid of variations like this. But you can sort of see how, in this case, black is staying connected through the O9 stone rather than the M12 stone. And so this one is possible for black to do. It is going to encourage white to jump. But this might be okay because black can continue this fight in this corner, rekindle this fire, so to speak. And then from that point, with the fire rekindled, black can try to bridge the 2 fights together and make something magical happen.
Yeah.
So I think this one is just too soft. White has already spent a move reinforcing. White does not need to add another move. White will not die here.
It looked like one eye to me. I just hate getting surrounded.
Yeah, I mean, it's because you have this attachment or the slide at any time. It's very hard for black to make S7 work as a killing move.
Just for fun, white does something else and black plays S10.
Okay, so this one, so you're worried about slide from the second line. Okay. What would be the best way to live?
This
Block,
is
right?
causing me worry.
Okay, I'll block.
Let's just do a S7.
Okay, vital point. Vital point has been taken.
R10. Connect. Yeah.
Okay.
You see my worry.
This one.
P9.
These are fun exercises for me. Whoops. There we go. Fix that one.
P7.
P7. Okay.
You understand my worry.
I'm not worried yet. Kill me.
Now, we've gone through this. You and I have gone through this so many times.
Yeah, it's because black is still, like, shape-wise, black is still much weaker than white. So as black is trying to kill you, he's making cuttable shapes. He's making
all over the place. I agree with that.
Yeah, okay. It's very, very hard for black to do this. Because even if black wanted to like cut through at the very end there, white was just going to be able to drive through the bamboo joint at the end of the stage. Yeah. So, yeah, too many weaknesses.
So you're looking at all this thin stuff for black, going, how in the world can he keep it together? Okay, so now in the past we've called it stuff. We see you do this magical entry, and you're confident because of all the stuff available. And here we see there's just a ton of stuff.
Yeah.
Okay. So my bad, clearly. Okay. Back to you.
Yeah. Alrighty. So yeah. So here, this one was not. It was not actually a sente for George. So white had the opportunity to play away. Now the fact that George didn't prevent the connection baffles me. There's almost no reason why black should not just block this.
Since it keeps that white group weak.
Yeah, like now, this exchange should be a net positive exchange for black if black is trying to kill white, or even suggest that black can. And also, black can then connect underneath after the fact, too. Like if white's nukies, then we get some any variation inside just to kind of illustrate it. Okay, white's probably going to be alive with something like this, but now black can't really be hurt either.
Right.
This is guaranteeing the back door to the corner, and I show this variation mostly for George later, so he can see that there's the back door here.
Yeah.
The block turns on this back door, provided black can get a move around T11 by Sente, which it looks like black can, considering white felt the need to respond to this move. This is a really good window into white's mind here, where white doesn't think white's as safe as white should be. That probably doesn't change if we answer with this one block, because we can turn on the clamp. Just very likely, if white's going to make this exchange and we block, white's probably going to play a second one also to finish the eyes. And at that point, it's already okay for black.
Right.
Even if black ends in gote with a move like this, it's going to be possible for black later because black is going to be able to get this by Sente, which is, again, going to turn on that back door. So this is kind of giving black like it's safety, but like pseudo safety. It's kind of like not really a safety white can positively interact with at the moment. So black is safe for the time being. Here the jump, then the push. I like white's two-space jump. I think that's fine. Black's push I don't quite get. If we're thinking that white is weak and we're trying to chase white, we should not be pushing from behind. This only makes white stronger. A better technique for black to do would be start with something like this. And this is a very specific starting point. We're paying attention to the wedge today. Try to get one exchange and then attack white with like chase white with the knight's move. Set up the connection of the group with easier between these 3 stones so that we can sacrifice the square stone in the center as needed and then surround him. This would be much better technique for George. Even if he just played this one without the attachment, it would be better technique for George. But pushing from behind is really not it. If you're high SDK or like low dawn level, if you're trying to attack this group, this type of thing is only mutually beneficial at best. You're going to get stronger in the center. White's going to get stronger in the center. If you don't have to make white stronger, don't. You're just going to help white live that way. And then white connects underneath. So the attack ends up losing all of its steam anyway.
Yeah.
So here, I'm assuming he's playing this to make you heavy. I don't like either of these exchanges for black personally. I don't really think they're necessary.
He's feeling thin on the O line there.
Yeah, possibly. But at the same time, I don't think white's going to cut either.
Right.
Because white is also thin. This is, I mean, more or less perfect shape, but it's perfect shape if black plays first, right? If white keeps making other cuttable shapes with it, then it becomes less perfect over time. Yeah. So yeah, I think instead of this one, it might make a little bit more sense for black to return to this fight. We just got the G13 move in preparation for this. I think now would be a really good timing if we didn't do it before. It should just be quite big, right? If white goes for the same type of Hane connect, then I think we can just snap turn and not even worry about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, white can probably settle with something like this, but like at any point, black has that to connect under. So black could even consider playing in a way that's much more aggressive against white.
Yeah.
Like black could consider playing the shoulder hit, for example, or this nice move cap. Like black can do a number of different things. And then all of this in preparation for bullying the bottom again as well.
Yeah.
But these exchanges, I don't like these. They make white very strong. And even though they help slightly with the thinness, the 2 stones themselves are a liability in the attack. As white begins to force against them, black's going to have to spend more moves in Dame to save them if black doesn't want to give white the easy eye. So usually it's not so good. This was a very sharp move, I thought. I saw this move and I was like, oh, I didn't actually consider it, but that's a good timing for this one, I think. He chose to do it this way. I think this one was still the vital point if he was going to play something like this. But I don't really see a reason why black can't just connect now. This one seems simple enough to me. So I'm not really sure what his methodology for not connecting here was. Okay, block and then attach. How fancy. I like this move. I really like this move. I would like this move slightly better if we peep for it. Just one peep as a probe, see what he wants to do.
Well, I'm usually like this peep, but he has such good shape on the bottom. If he simply responds with something like, let's say, D9.
There's D9. Okay, just capture the left.
What good was the peep?
Yeah, well, now the idea is when you make the attachment, you've got 2 sides to work with.
Okay. Granted, the left isn't that big.
Yeah. You can also go here as well. This would be more normal, I guess. Because now, if we cut, he has to live on the bottom. Otherwise, G2 is going to kill him. So.
Okay. Once I saw his good shape on the bottom, I thought the peep was no good. This is, it's going to, I won't be able to grasp this for a while. This is a very new concept for me.
Yeah, it's just kind of like, it's a very interesting sort of thing because the idea is very simple. If white's allowed to cut and like fix, right? Like let's say like this, white can get these 3 stones. Even though black had good shape, black is still locally dead. Like the cutting stones have to be killed at this point for black.
Yeah.
So that in and of itself is an asset because white has a thick stick and is swimming in all the black center influence.
Yeah.
So you need every forcing resource you can get. And this is all about forcing resources. Because right now, where's all of white stuff? You've got stuff between here. You've got stuff between here. You've got stuff between these two stones. You've got stuff between these, right? You've got this connection that still is questionable. You've got that Aji stone there. There's a point here that could be interesting to aim at later. Although it would usually be more interesting if white had blocked this way. But like white has a lot of different things white could use. So here, I like George's extension. This is a very strong move. I think it's good direction. White's next move is really powerful. This is white using the stuff. Black's block, okay. I'm not a huge fan of it just because it's kind of bad shape if white turns. Like this exchange, I don't think can be bad for white when white gets to cover. Black is breaking his own knight's move.
Well, to me, that white turn at B is suggesting two things. I'm going to come out to the center.
Yep.
But I don't see a lot there. I see mostly black stones.
Yeah, I see thin black stones.
Okay, you see them thin. I see just a lot of black stones. And the other one is, oh, I'm going to hurt your two stones. Well, it's black's move. He can fix that.
Yeah. Oh, that's true. He can. You know, he can absolutely fix it. Please, by all means, play Dami to fix those two stones.
Which means my only option is to run out where all the black stones are. Yeah. So that seemed. See, I'm trying to get my head on straight here. It's very difficult.
Yeah. Well, it kind of goes back to what I was saying when I saw these exchanges the first time, right? Because the thing that I said about it was that very often the reason it's not great to have this when you're trying to attack white is because very often they get put in a situation where white's going to force against them and you're going to either have to save them or let them go. And if you let them go, white's going to get a really big eye. And if you save them, you're playing on Dame. Both of those results are acceptable for white, provided white can live.
Okay.
So when we get here, both of those results are still acceptable for white. White's going to live. At this point, it's very hard for black to say white isn't. Even white goes here, I think it's very hard to kill him. It's not completely alive, but it's getting very, very close. Probably 1.5 eyes worth of living space on its own here. It's very difficult for black to kill him. And it's also very difficult for black to exploit A as a key shape point here to kill white because the two stones still have Dama's Mari.
Right.
Which is, again, just one of the drawbacks of trying to make these exchanges to attack white in any type of severe way. Now, this is all like very advanced fighting stuff. A lot of this stuff you sort of learn by experience during these types of fights. So there's a lot of players, I'm sure, out there that at the Q level that are like, oh yeah, duh, like the two Qs that fight all the time. And I'm sure there are some Don players that don't fight a lot that look at this and go, I have no idea what he's talking about.
Yeah.
But that's just kind of what it is. Like normally in the textbooks, we're taught, oh, we need to make white heavy and then attack white. And so we think we do that with these exchanges, but the shape here, the two stones against the four stones like this in a fight, is usually at the detriment to the player with the two stones. Because all we've done is force white to be a stick locally, but that means white has no weakness. There's no cutting point.
Yeah.
And black is very thin, which means white has many cutting points to exploit. But okay, I think even starting here for white is fine. I don't think that this one is necessarily bad. Black's probably going to answer because he doesn't want to give you freebies in the corner. But if black does answer this way, it helps.
You're going your way? Okay, hon. We'll see you.
It sort of helps to fix black's mistake at A. So the best way that I can kind of explain it is just this A-B exchange is just kind of like a naturally bad exchange for black. And so it's okay for white to accept a bad exchange for black.
I'm seeing it better now, yeah.
But this is George, and I don't think George blocked there. Yeah, George was afraid of the corner. Let's take a look and see what would have happened. Maybe he was worried that it was going to be something like this. And he wasn't sure how he was going to handle this type of thing. But actually, black just refutes to cut by blocking. White can get one Atari, but then after white takes the Atari, there's not really a good next move for white. Like locally, white can play the tiger's mouth, but it's completely okay. And even then, black could still play something like this, or black could play any number of moves, to be honest.
Uh-huh.
And it's going to be perfectly fine for black. You know, black could play this one, black could cut. Whoops. If I could not misclick every other move, that'd be great. Black could cut. Black could start here still and try to mess with these two knights moves to get a squeeze to cut white off in Sente. Like a lot of different ideas. So that's a good one for George. Just read. These situations kind of require reading more than any like basic knowledge. White's suggesting white has stuff in the corner. Verify by reading. If you don't see anything working in the corner, don't defend the corner. Fix your problem. Because now white gets the turn, and it's like night and day difference. This exchange in the corner became a very positive exchange for white. This 1-2 exchange. Black lost a bit of territory here. And now at this point, I would say white is probably 99% alive.
He killed me.
That should not happen. At least from this point, it shouldn't happen. Because white can at any point connect through around B, and white can live locally with C. So at this point, white should be perfectly safe enough. I like this black move. I think this is correct here. It's very important for black to bridge this big gap in the center, because that's the biggest hole in black's door, where white can come in. And now the A stone is dying on a large scale. So white has to think, how is white going to engineer something on the left side? Because if white can break the left, and then, well, white has two missions. White needs to break area 1 in Sente, and white needs to get to 2.
Okay, let me catch up here. First, why does white need to break area 1 in Sente?
Because if you break area 1 in Gote and black gets to play on the top first, I'm pretty sure black will still have enough territory to win the game.
Okay.
Yeah.
So let me rephrase that. There are 2 really big areas. And white is still behind and needs both to win. That's what you're saying.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, and area 2, even though it's mutually big for both, neither player can really play there in Sente.
Right.
Right.
So therefore, settle A and Sente, get to area 2 first. Okay.
Right.
Now, I never think that way. I'm thinking, I'm going to be so happy when I live at A. I'll have ripped off his whole area, and then we continue the game. You're like, so again, I'm doing general, you're doing specific. Okay.
Yeah, it's just because I'm looking at the territory, right? And the white bottom group, when it lives, will probably live with about 6 points. So we can say, I'll move 1. We can say group 1 is going to be worth about 6 points. Group 2, whoops, I'll remove 2. Group 2 is going to be worth about 3 or 4 points. Group 3 in the corner, that's 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 18, 20. This group 3 is miscellaneous, somewhere between 20 and 25 points, depending on how white cleans up the shape. Then this whole like group, I'm going to consider the entire right side group 4. After the end game, the right side is probably 8 to 10 points at most, I would say. So we can consider, which for the sake of clean estimation, we'll call it 10. So we'll say 10, 20, 6, and 3. So 10, 20, 36, 39, and white gets half one Coney, so 39 and a half. White's about 40 points. Black's top right corner area in the end game right now is going to be close to 18, 20 points. The bottom right corner for black after end game calculation, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, close to 15 points. So in the 2 corners, black's at 25. That's a 15-point difference.
Yeah.
The Moyo at A is worth more than 40 points. The territory on top is worth about 15. So if black gets the top area and loses the whole center area but gets 2 moves on the top, black can win.
Yeah.
If white breaks the left side and gets the first move on the top, black should lose.
Yeah. if we perform the same calculation here,
Mhm.
white should just resign.
Clearly, yes. But
Okay.
white has to use the counting to inform how white should move through the game. It informs white's plan for how to win from that position. You need to know how you're actually going to get to the end.
This is great, except I'm not going to say, I really need to get Sente here to get over. No, I'm not going to say that. I'm going to try to do what I can and wait. So that's exactly what I would do in our game. I'm like, okay, one thing at a time. Let me settle the group. And you're saying, well, we have more information here than we did at the beginning of the game.
Yes.
Things have become clear. And if you don't pick it up, you're just gonna lose. Okay.
Yeah.
Good. Back to wherever we were.
It was around here. Black jumped at K12, I think, was our last one. Yeah, and so now white is starting these operations to break the black area.
How do you like my move at D12?
Spicy. Yeah, I don't think I would have come up with it, but it looks interesting.
I was really proud of it. I thought, hey, that's really doing something.
I think for me, I would still start here because it's a bit more normal, easy to find. But I think it's fine. More. Yeah, because black spent what, 3 moves, and so far with the 3 moves, black has not gained any territory. So
talk to me about my E7 versus your E6.
Both are fine. They do kind of a similar thing. Now that white has the Kosumi to work with, this one is probably a better shape relationship with everything. Okay. So I think on this board in particular, it's probably better to have E7.
Okay, good.
And then black connected, and now white needs to start building eye space. Yeah, white is doing it very, very quickly. Probably I would have turned. But actually, I don't know if turn is better. It's like black can still go here, right? This type of life and death would take me a while. I think white can get this one in Sente though, which is kind of the attractive feature of having the turn.
Yeah.
It's just hard to see how the continuation is going to go because at the moment this doesn't work for white. But at the same time, if white can get enough liberties to start the fight here, then it could be difficult for black also, actually.
Yeah.
Because like there's going to be this sort of ate move, and if black comes out and white cuts, it's very difficult for white to lose that cutting stone. And if it gets into capturing race situation, I think white might actually be able to get enough space to have chances here.
Mm-hmm.
So that would be something I would look at. Unfortunately, a lot of this just requires reading. There's not really a heuristic principle I can give you for this. Even when I'm in similar situations, I just kind of look at the weaknesses and try to calculate based on what's around what I can try to do.
Yeah.
But my feeling is that I think turn should be maybe a little bit better than knight's move, just because you get the follow-up Atari with the H12 jump, which is going to set up capturing race possibilities for white. But I really don't know. Sure. This one was a bit surprising. I thought maybe white would come out again first. Sort of probe this.
Yeah, better, yeah.
In preparation, we can aim for the Hane at A and try to get an eye around here in the center as well. I don't know if it's better. I just think it's one of the more natural continuations for white. But this one, okay, white can set up a ko. That's always attractive. Yeah. And then the ko begins. So for George, I think this ko is a trap. I don't think I would have played it, to be honest. I think George should be thinking about how to kill white while avoiding the ko. For example, something like this. Because now if white captures and black plays Atari, white's probably not going to play the ko. White's probably just going to take or connect. If that happens, white can get one eye, but it's only one eye.
Yeah.
So I think this is a case of where I don't know what his time situation was looking like. Looks like he had Yoyomi at this point. So the ko might have just been the first thing he saw and he went with it. But if your opponent is invading your area and the best result you got was Ko for their life in a place where they should be dead, you failed. Ko is a big asset to the person invading because it makes, I mean, their stuff is usually already light anyway, but they're looking for a way to sacrifice positively to get the results that they're looking for.
Right.
White can give up anything. So having a Ko in White's back pocket is a big asset to White, even if White doesn't fight the Ko immediately. Yeah, like now, for example, even whoops, this is just a big local Ko threat, because if Black kills the Ko, something like this, for example, then White has enough room pretty much to make all the eye space White needs with something like this. Yeah, so I think the Ko is just a really big trap, and Black should not be falling into the trap. It's only going to give White chances, and then this connection has to be a mistake. Has to be a mistake. I don't think there's a world where we don't answer with just this.
Yeah, way better. Yeah,
because if White cuts, now the Ko is super heavy for White.
Yeah, right.
So
now
White can't really cut yet. And I think that's advanced, right? That's really advanced. I think that's something that's very hard for, like, that's a nuance and detail that's very hard for Q players, at least for my students. Understanding when Kos are heavy, when they're light.
Yeah.
Like, why is the Ko light for White now, but heavy when White cuts, type of deal. I don't really have a great way of explaining it. Maybe you have a way that's better, but it's like once White commits to cutting and White's saying, okay, I'm going to use this to live, it's going to cost White more territory to lose the Ko now because we've thrown in that extra stone at B7.
Mm-hmm.
If that stone dies off without accomplishing anything, then we just wasted points and it became a bad move. That's the best way I can explain it. But this connection for Black must be a mistake. Giving White the Satari is huge. Okay, yeah, this is good for White. This Hane absolutely perfect. Black connected. Yep, capture the Ko. And now Black is launching the attack here. Okay, I agree. We fix this, and then and then Black jumps. That seems to be only move. White turned. Okay, that's all fine. And then this one. Okay, I like this move. Very powerful.
Yeah.
And then capture.
I did not expect to die here, let me tell you.
Yeah, I don't think White should die. Did White need to capture first? I think in shapes like this, usually White is keeping before taking, because you capture is kind of your right. I mean, Black could take it, but at this point, White would live anyway. So, and the reason that I say that is because Black has too many issues to deal with now. So, for example, if we go here, Black captures, even just pushing, we're threatening to play A and kill Black in the corner.
Yeah.
So Black is not going to be completely dead, for example, but it's very hard for Black to actually suggest that White is going to be in trouble here. And then, of course, White can also just make this exchange at any time and then have extra liberties. So even if these 4 stones get cut off in the fight, there could be a capture and race against them too. So normally we strike first inside before we capture, but okay, White took the stone. Probably White doesn't die here also, but okay. So he's going full on to kill you now.
Yeah.
It seems we can start from here.
I was sure I was alive here.
Yeah, if we do something like this, I think this should be okay for White. Because Black is kind of like married to the idea of cutting through now. Otherwise, White will just get to play H2 and kill Black first. So if we get something like this, though, we just connected. If Black tries to cut like this, is it working? Maybe not. Probably we just turn and have fighting on the outside. Yeah, Black can't cut right now, so this type of fighting is probably okay for White, maybe. Hard to say, though. It is very messy. Okay, so you played the turn, right? Yeah, you played the turn. Okay. So George is doing Mission Impossible to kill Lance, and yeah, Black still can't cut, so that's good. Oh, how sharp.
Oh,
Maybe does this change the equation at all?
I thought it was a better choice after the game, but I still couldn't find the eye.
I think it's just we have to go for the fight, something like this. Oops. And I don't think, I mean, we can block here, but it's not quite an eye. Black can throw in, right? Oh, but if Black throws in, we can play this one. That's an eye.
Right, but you can play that first, yeah.
Yeah, we can go here first. And then from that point, is there like a clean way for White to fight this? I mean, I guess. What's the status of this thing? Hold on. I guess White's best bet might be extend. But I think Black will just choose to live on the bottom now, right? Like if Black just makes the eye, what do we do?
So we
It's
still only have one.
tough. Yeah, we have to come out and fight. Living might actually be near impossible here now. Wow, that's crazy. You
Yeah,
definitely don't expect to die in these positions.
yeah, I
but,
didn't. I kept thinking, then I'll just do that. Then I'll just do that. And he kept shutting me down. I'm like, holy cow, George, good going.
Yeah, I think here. Okay. Okay, so white is trying.
It's close.
Yeah, it's very close. Very, very close. Well, white is
Yeah.
like almost broken out here.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like actually, can white? I think white can escape. If you play it like this.
Yeah, go ahead.
Because you can't get that one in Sente, right? And then if you play this one, he just cuts.
Right. It was so close.
Think.
And I couldn't find anything that worked.
Let me think. If it's like this and he blocks. Well, if it's like this and he blocks, yeah, cut is going to be, I think, guaranteed has to be the next move, right? But you can just play this one. That way he's dead.
Oh, okay. I didn't even see that. Show
Yeah,
me that again.
I just caught it. Because he would have to extend after the cut, and then it's just a Fari all the way down. Because there's a Liberty issue here.
Okay, just a second. I want to see this. Okay, so fill this in first, right? Out. And the Atari. That's what I missed. Let me go one more time. Make him heavy. So then these stone, the old 5 stones. I didn't dream of them being something.
Yeah.
Okay. Good. You found something.
Yeah. So this way, I believe it's just a win for white. White should be ahead now. Because white broke the area by Sente, but also on the bottom side, white gained an incredible amount of territory with the capture. So now even black taking the first move on top, I think doesn't work. So at this point, black, I think, actually has to capture. And then against the capture now, white's going to be able to connect here.
Right.
And black can try to remove the eye, but then white will just Atari here and be out. And if black blocks, then of course white can just live.
Yeah.
Obviously, white can also consider cutting and just getting out this way also. But this way should be a life for white.
Good.
And actually, you can do the same thing even now. Because these are all forcing, you can make the same situation via the Tawari here. So, but in this case, black will never, if black can read it, black will never connect anymore. Black will only choose to cut, and black will sacrifice the inside stones like this. Or instead of taking the extra 2 stones, probably black will go here or somewhere else on top.
Right.
And I think the game is closer now.
Yeah.
But I think black is still ahead this way.
So for me, the takeaway is,
Yeah.
you know, I've been working on this fear that I have. It's like, well, when there's stuff, just don't worry about it. Yeah, but what in this case? Don't worry about it. Yeah, but what about now? Don't worry about it. There's lots of stuff. That's hard for me.
Yeah. Yeah, so here I think that's probably where the game probably ended, was when white died, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
good.
I think everything was fine until then. Yeah, it seems like George here should have connected. But the fact that he extended means he didn't realize there was an issue here. Yeah, I think white starts with this one, tries to commit black first. Because if black is really gung-ho on killing, then black is going to accept both exchanges at this timing. And then now black has no choice. Black has to Atari and space.
Didn't even see it. Yeah.
And then in this case, maybe black is still ahead by a small amount. But if white manages to live like this, then at least it's still a game. Like, can drag it into endgame and possibly make up some of the difference.
Yeah.
All right. Awesome.
Well, thank you. Very, very useful for me.
Woo, what a game.
Yeah. Okay, viewers, hopefully you got something out of it like I did. Chris, as always, thank you.
Yep.
And
care,
we'll
everyone.
see you all next time.